The hidden impact of anger, how it affects your body and mind. Anger is more than just an emotional outburst. It has profound effects on your body, mind, and overall well-being. Whether it's a fleeting irritation or prolonged rage, the consequences can be felt across various systems in your body. From straining your heart to weakening your immune system, anger leaves no stone unturned. Let's dive into the 9 ways anger impacts your health, serving as a foundation for exploring how to navigate and mitigate these effects. 1. How anger overloads your nervous system. 5 key effects. Anger is a natural emotional response, but its impact on the nervous system is anything but ordinary. When you feel angry, your sympathetic nervous system, SNS, the 1. Adrenaline and noradrenaline surge. The first response to anger is the rapid release of adrenaline and noradrenaline from high cardiovascular strain, chronic stress. 2. Elevated cortisol levels. As your anger escalates, your body also releases cortisol, the primary stress hormone. While cortisol helps regulate energy and focus in short bursts, its chronic elevation due to frequent anger episodes can impair the central nervous system, CNSA. Over time, high cortisol levels reduce your brain's ability to manage stress effectively, disrupt neurotransmitter balance, and negatively affect memory and concentration. This hormone can also lead to physical exhaustion, as your nervous system struggles to maintain balance. 3. Overactivation of the amygdala. The amygdala, a key component of your brain's limbic system, takes center stage during anger. It acts as the brain's alarm system, interpreting threats and initiating the body's stress response. When you're angry, the amygdala becomes overactive, taking precedence over the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for reasoning and self-control. This explains why anger often leads to impulsive decisions or reactive behavior. Repeated overactivation of the amygdala can condition your nervous system to overreact even to minor stressors, making it harder to manage emotions over time. 4. Disruption of autonomic nervous system balance. The autonomic nervous system, ANS, is responsible for maintaining homeostasis in your body. It includes the sympathetic branch, activates fight or flight, and the parasympathetic branch promotes relaxation. During anger, the sympathetic branch dominates, leading to physical changes like rapid breathing, increased blood pressure, and muscle tension. Prolonged anger episodes disrupt the balance between these two branches, keeping your body in a constant state of alertness. This imbalance can contribute to long-term health problems like digestive disorders, chronic fatigue, and an inability to recover from stress. 5. Nervous system overload and fatigue. Frequent or intense anger places excessive demands on your nervous system, leading to a phenomenon known as allostatic load. This term describes the cumulative wear and tear on your body due to repeated stress. With every episode of anger, your nervous system works overtime, using energy reserves that might otherwise go toward healing and maintaining balance. Over time, this overload can manifest as physical and mental exhaustion, making you feel less resilient and more prone to additional stress. 2. The toll of anger on your heart. 5 ways it impacts cardiovascular health. Your heart bears the brunt of anger more than any other organ in your body. While short-term anger can cause temporary spikes in heart rate and blood pressure, chronic or intense anger can lead to lasting damage to your cardiovascular system. Heart disease, high blood pressure, and other related conditions are just some of the risks. Here, we'll explore 5 ways anger can harm your heart and cardiovascular health. 1. Elevated blood pressure, hypertension. One of the most immediate effects of anger is a sharp increase in blood pressure. This occurs because anger activates the sympathetic nervous system, which releases adrenaline and cortisol into the bloodstream. These stress hormones cause blood vessels to constrict and the heart to pump harder, raising blood pressure levels. While a single episode of anger may only cause a temporary spike, frequent or prolonged anger can lead to chronic hypertension. Over time, high blood pressure places strain on the walls of your blood vessels, increasing the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and aneurysms. 2. Increased risk of heart disease. Anger has been linked to a higher risk of developing coronary artery disease, CAD, plaque in the arteries. 3. Disrupted heart rhythms, arrhythmias. Episodes of anger can lead to irregular heartbeats, atrial fibrillation, WO. 4. Inflammation and oxidative stress. Anger triggers an inflammatory response in the body, releasing chemicals known as cytokines that see oxidative stress and heart failure and other serious. 5. Increased blood clotting. When you're angry, your body enters a state of heightened alertness, which includes an increase in blood clotting factors. While this response is designed to protect the body from physical injury, excessive clotting can be dangerous. Anger-induced clotting increases the risk of developing blood clots that can heart attacks or strokes. F. The long-term cardiovascular consequences of anger. It's important to recognize that the effects of anger on your heart aren't limited to fleeting moments. Frequent or unmanaged anger creates a cycle of stress that continually burdens your cardiovascular system. Over time, this can lead to permanent damage, increasing the likelihood of life-threatening conditions such as heart attacks, strokes, and chronic heat. 3. How anger disrupts your digestive system. 5 key effects. Anger doesn't just impact your emotions. It has a significant influence on your body's internal systems, including your digestive system. When you're angry, your body enters fight or flight mode, redirecting energy away from digestion to prioritize immediate survival. This disruption can cause a variety of gastrointestinal issues, some of which may become chronic if anger is frequent or unresolved. Below, we'll explore 5 key ways anger can wreak havoc on your digestive health. Stomach pain and cramping. Anger can cause the muscles in your digestive tract to contract more than usual, leading to stomach pain, adrenaline, and cortisol, which can interfere with the normal rhythmic contractions of the stomach and intestines. The result? A feeling of tightness or pain in the abdomen that can worsen with repeated anger episodes. 2. Indigestion and acid reflux. Anger has been linked to indigestion and acid reflux, as it affects the stomach's production of gastric acid. When you're angry, your body may produce excess stomach acid, which can back up into the esophagus, causing heartburn. Alternatively, the body might reduce acid production temporarily, disrupting digestion and leading to symptoms like bloating, nausea, and a feeling of fullness. Frequent bouts of anger can worsen conditions like gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, creating long-term discomfort and damage to the esophagus. 3. Changes in gut motility. Gut motility refers to the movement of food through your digestive system, and anger can significantly disrupt this process. Depending on your body's response, anger can either speed up or slow down digestion. In some cases, anger may lead to diarrhea as the intestines move food through too quickly. In other cases, it can cause constipation, as stress hormones interfere with the normal contraction of intestinal muscles. This variability in gut motility often leads to discomfort and difficulty in maintaining regular bowel movements. 4. Aggravation of chronic digestive conditions for individuals with pre-existing digestive conditions, such as irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, or inflammatory bowel disease. IBD anger can act as a trigger, worsening symptoms. Stress and anger can increase inflammation in the gut, exacerbate abdominal pain, and lead to flare-ups. In IBS, for example, anger may intensify symptoms like diarrhea, bloating, and cramping. Similarly, in IBD, the stress response associated with anger can worsen inflammation, leading to heightened discomfort and a more challenging disease course. 5. Reduced nutrient absorption. Anger disrupts the body's ability to effectively absorb nutrients from food. This is because when the body is in fight or flight mode, it deprioritizes digestion, reducing the production of digestive enzymes and stomach acid. Without sufficient enzymes and acids, your body may struggle to break down food properly, resulting in malabsorption of essential nutrients like vitamins and minerals. Over time, this can lead to deficiencies that affect overall health, including fatigue, weakened immunity, and poor skin health. Key effects on digestive health. The connection between anger and digestion is undeniable. Each episode of anger triggers a cascade of physiological changes that interfere with the smooth functioning of your digestive system. From cramping and acid reflux to long-term aggravation of chronic conditions, the digestive system is highly sensitive to emotional stress. Understanding these effects is the first step in breaking the cycle and protecting your gastrointestinal health. 4. How anger weakens your immune system. 5 critical effects. Anger, while often seen as an emotional reaction, has profound physical consequences, particularly on the immune system. Chronic or intense anger creates a stress response in the body that suppresses immune function, making you more vulnerable to illnesses and infections. Below, we examine 5 critical ways anger undermines your immune system and leaves your body less equipped to defend itself. Increased cortisol levels suppress immunity. When you're angry, your body releases large amounts of cortisol, the primary stress hormone. Cortisol plays a role in regulating inflammation, but prolonged exposure to high cortisol levels can suppress the immune system. This suppression occurs because cortisol reduces the production of white blood cells, the body's primary defenders against infections. Over time, frequent or unresolved anger diminishes too. Reduced production of antibodies. The immune system relies on antibodies. 3. Increased inflammation in the body. Ironically, while anger suppresses certain aspects of the immune system, it can also amplify inflammation, creating pro-inflammatory cytokines, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, psoriasis. Impaired natural killer. NK cell activity. Natural killer. NK cells are a vital component of your immune system, tasked with identifying and destroying abnormal cells, such as those infected by viruses or undergoing cancerous changes. When anger becomes a chronic emotional state, NK cell activity diminishes, reducing your body's ability to fight infections and even cancer. Research suggests that frequent anger episodes correlate with lower NK cell counts, meaning your body may struggle to eliminate harmful cells effectively. 5. Delayed wound healing. Anger not only affects internal immune functions, but also has an observable impact on physical healing. The body's natural repair processes, such as wound healing, rely on an efficient immune response. However, high cortisol levels and elevated inflammation associated with anger disrupt these processes. Studies have shown that individuals experiencing frequent anger or emotional stress heal more slowly from injuries and recover more sluggishly from surgeries compared to those with better emotional regulation. This delay in healing underscores how deeply anger can interfere with the body's natural defenses. The hidden cost of anger on immunity. The immune system operates best when the body is in a state of balance. Anger, particularly when chronic or uncontrolled, throws this balance off, leading to a weakened ability to combat illness and recover from injuries. With every outburst or prolonged period of frustration, your immune defenses take a hit, leaving you more exposed to both immediate and long-term health risks. Understanding these effects highlights the critical need to address and manage anger for better physical well-being. 5. How anger impacts your breathing. 5 ways it disrupts your respiratory system. Anger doesn't just affect your emotions and mental state. It has a direct and immediate impact on your breathing and overall respiratory health. When you're angry, your body's physiological stress response causes changes in your breathing patterns, oxygen intake, and respiratory muscles. Over time, frequent episodes of anger can exacerbate existing respiratory conditions and even create new challenges for your lungs and airways. Here are 5 significant ways anger disrupts your respiratory system. 1. Shallow and rapid breathing. Hyperventilation. Anger activates the sympathetic nervous system, which triggers shallow, rapid breathing, commonly known as hyperventilation. Instead of deep, steady breaths that maximize oxygen exchange, hyperventilation causes you to take in less air per breath, reducing the efficiency of oxygen delivery to your body's tissues. This can lead to symptoms such as dizziness, lightheadedness, or a sensation of breathlessness. Over time, if anger-induced hyperventilation occurs frequently, it may strain your respiratory muscles and exacerbate feelings of stress and discomfort. Airway constriction. When you're angry, stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol flood your body, causing the airways to constrict. This narrowing of the bronchial tubes can make it more difficult for air to flow in and out of the lungs. For individuals with pre-existing respiratory conditions like asthma or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, this response can trigger or worsen symptoms such as wheezing, chest tightness, or shortness of breath. Even in individuals without diagnosed respiratory issues, frequent airway constriction can reduce lung efficiency over time. 3. Increased oxygen demand. Danger accelerates your heart rate and increases your body's demand for oxygen as part of the fight or flight response. To meet this demand, your breathing becomes faster and more labored, placing extra stress on your respiratory system. While this response may be short-lived, repeated episodes of anger can lead to long-term strain on your lungs, respiratory muscles, and cardiovascular system. The constant demand for oxygen can leave you feeling fatigued and more prone to respiratory exhaustion. Exacerbation of chronic respiratory conditions for individuals with conditions like asthma, bronchitis, or COPD. Anger can be a significant trigger that worsens symptoms. Stress and anger-induced changes in breathing patterns can provoke asthma attacks or periods of increased respiratory distress. In addition, chronic anger has been linked to higher levels of systemic inflammation, which can negatively affect the lungs and contribute to the progression of respiratory diseases. Over time, this cycle of anger and respiratory strain may lower lung function and reduce overall quality of life. 5. Reduced breathing efficiency. Anger can interfere with your ability to maintain deep diaphragmatic breathing, which is essential for efficient oxygen exchange. Instead, anger often leads to chest breathing, where the breaths are shallow and originate from the upper chest rather than the diaphragm. This inefficient breathing pattern reduces oxygen intake and increases carbon dioxide retention, which can make you feel more anxious or tense. Repeated reliance on chest breathing due to anger can also weaken the diaphragm over time, making it harder to breathe effectively even in non-stressful situations. The overlooked connection between anger and breathing. Anger's impact on your respiratory system goes beyond temporary discomfort. Whether it's shallow breathing, airway constriction, or the exacerbation of chronic conditions, the respiratory system is highly sensitive to the physiological effects of anger. Understanding these impacts helps highlight the importance of managing emotional responses to protect respiratory health and maintain a healthy, efficient breathing pattern. 6. How anger affects your muscles and bones. 5 key ways it causes physical strain. Anger doesn't just take a toll on your emotions and mental state, it also manifests physically, particularly in your muscles and skeletal system. When you're angry, your body reacts with tension and stress, which can lead to discomfort, pain, and long-term physical issues. Below, we explore 5 ways anger impacts your muscles and bones, highlighting how this emotional state can lead to physical strain and chronic problems over time. Muscle tension and stiffness. One of the most immediate physical responses to anger is muscle tension. Anger activates the sympathetic nervous system, preparing your body for a fight or flight reaction. As a result, muscles throughout your body contract, especially in areas like the neck, shoulders, and jaw. While this tension may dissipate once the anger subsides, frequent or prolonged episodes of anger can cause chronic muscle tightness, leading to conditions such as tension headaches, stiff neck, and upper back pain. Increased risk of muscle pain and injury. When your muscles are consistently tense due to unresolved anger, they become more prone to pain and injury. Tightened muscles are less flexible and resilient, making them more susceptible to strains, pulls, and even spasms. For example, clenched fists or a tightened jaw during anger can cause strain in the hands, wrists, and temporomandibular joint, TMJ, leading to jaw pain or TMJ disorder. Over time, chronic muscle tension caused by anger can reduce your range of motion and physical performance. Exacerbation of chronic pain conditions. For individuals with pre-existing chronic pain conditions, such as fibromyalgia, arthritis, or lower back pain, anger can act as a significant trigger. Emotional stress caused by anger increases the perception of pain by heightening the brain's sensitivity to pain signals. Additionally, the physical tension associated with anger can worsen inflammation in the joints and soft tissues, intensifying pain and discomfort. This creates a vicious cycle in which anger exacerbates pain, and pain fuels further emotional distress. 4. Negative impact on bone health. While the immediate effects of anger are most visible in the muscles, prolonged anger can also indirectly harm your bones. Chronic anger increases the production of cortisol, a stress hormone that interferes with calcium absorption and accelerates bone loss. Over time, elevated cortisol levels can lead to a decrease in bone density, increasing the risk of conditions like osteopenia or osteoporosis. This effect is particularly concerning for older adults who are already at greater risk for fractures and other bone-related injuries. 5. Posture problems and spinal strain. Anger often manifests physically in the form of poor posture, such as hunching the shoulders, clenching the jaw, or tensing the back. Over time, these repeated postural changes can place strain on the spine and lead to musculoskeletal imbalances. For instance, individuals who carry tension in their shoulders or upper back may develop chronic neck pain or misalignments in the cervical spine. Additionally, prolonged anger-related tension can contribute to lower back pain, as the lumbar region bears the brunt of stress during poor posture. The physical consequences of anger on muscles and bones. Anger is often perceived as an emotional or psychological state, but its physical effects on the musculoskeletal system are just as significant. From chronic muscle tension to reduced bone density, the consequences of unchecked anger extend far beyond temporary discomfort. By understanding these effects, it becomes clear that managing anger is not only essential for mental well-being, but also critical for maintaining physical health and mobility. 7. How anger disrupts brain function. 5 key cognitive impacts. Anger doesn't just affect your emotions, it has a profound influence on your brain and cognitive abilities. When you're angry, your brain undergoes chemical and structural changes that can impair decision-making, memory, and emotional regulation. These effects aren't limited to moments of intense rage. Frequent or prolonged anger can have lasting consequences on your mental sharpness and overall brain health. Here are 5 key ways anger disrupts brain function. 1. Overactivation of the amygdala. The amygdala, often referred to as the brain's emotional center, becomes hyperactive during episodes of anger. The amygdala is responsible for detecting threats and triggering a fight or flight response, which is crucial for survival. However, when anger takes over, the amygdala can dominate brain activity, overpowering the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logical thinking, impulse control, and rational decision-making. This imbalance causes reactive and irrational behavior, making it difficult to think clearly or make sound decisions in the heat of the moment. Impaired prefrontal cortex function. Anger significantly diminishes the functionality of the prefrontal cortex, the region of the brain responsible for executive functions such as planning, reasoning, and emotional control. When you're angry, blood flow and neural activity shift away from the prefrontal cortex toward the amygdala. This shift disrupts your ability to evaluate situations logically or control impulsive reactions. Over time, repeated episodes of anger can weaken the prefrontal cortex's ability to regulate emotions, leading to poorer self-control and a heightened sensitivity to stressors. 3. Memory and cognitive decline. Frequent or prolonged anger can negatively affect memory and cognitive performance. The stress hormones released during anger, particularly cortisol, interfere with the brain's ability to encode and retrieve memories. High cortisol levels can damage the hippocampus, a brain region crucial for memory formation and recall. Over time, this damage may contribute to difficulties in remembering details, processing new information, and maintaining mental clarity. In severe cases, chronic anger and stress have been linked to an increased risk of neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's disease. Heightened sensitivity to emotional triggers. Repeated episodes of anger can condition your brain to become more sensitive to emotional triggers. This is due to changes in neural pathways caused by the frequent activation of the brain's stress response system. Over time, the brain becomes wired to react more strongly to minor irritations, creating a feedback loop of heightened anger responses. This hypersensitivity not only affects your emotional well-being, but also makes it harder to manage social interactions, resolve conflicts, or maintain relationships. 5. Disruption of neurotransmitter balance. Anger disrupts the balance of key neurotransmitters, such as serotonin and dopamine, which play vital roles in regulating mood and cognition. Low serotonin levels, often linked to anger and aggression, reduce your ability to remain calm and think clearly under pressure. Similarly, fluctuations in dopamine levels can affect motivation and reward processing, leaving you feeling drained or unsatisfied after anger episodes. These imbalances can lead to chronic mood instability, making it harder to experience positive emotions or focus on long-term goals. The cognitive toll of anger isn't just a fleeting emotional reaction. It has a lasting impact on the brain's structure and function, from impairing decision-making to affecting memory and emotional resilience. The consequences of unchecked anger can extend far beyond the moment. Understanding these cognitive effects is essential for recognizing the importance of emotional regulation and its role in maintaining overall mental sharpness and brain health. 8. How anger disrupts your sleep. 5 key impacts on rest and recovery. Sleep is essential for your physical and mental well-being, but anger can significantly disrupt your ability to rest and recover. When you're angry, your body and mind remain in a heightened state of arousal, making it difficult to achieve the calm and relaxation required for quality sleep. Over time, frequent anger or unresolved frustrations can lead to chronic sleep disturbances, affecting every aspect of your health. Here are 5 key ways anger impacts your sleep. 1. Elevated cortisol levels delay sleep onset. Anger triggers the release of cortisol, the primary stress hormone, which is meant to prepare your body for immediate action. However, cortisol also inhibits the production of melatonin, the hormone responsible for regulating sleep-wake cycles. Elevated cortisol levels keep your body in a state of alertness, making it difficult to wind down and fall asleep. This delayed sleep onset can result in tossing and turning at night, leaving you feeling restless and frustrated. 2. Increased heart rate and hyperarousal. When you're angry, your sympathetic nervous system is activated, causing an increase in heart rate, blood pressure, and respiratory rate. This state of hyperarousal is the opposite of the calm, relaxed state required for sleep. Even after the immediate anger subsides, the physiological effects can linger, keeping your body too stimulated to drift into the deeper stages of sleep. Over time, repeated episodes of anger-induced hyperarousal can lead to insomnia or difficulty staying asleep through the night. 3. Disrupted sleep patterns and fragmented rest. Anger not only affects your ability to fall asleep, but also disrupts your overall sleep architecture. Individuals who go to bed angry or carry unresolved frustrations into the night often experience fragmented sleep, with frequent awakenings throughout the night. This disruption can prevent you from reaching the restorative stages of deep sleep and REM sleep, both of which are critical for physical recovery and emotional processing. Poor sleep patterns can leave you feeling groggy and irritable the next day, perpetuating a cycle of anger and sleep disruption. 4. Exacerbation of nighttime rumination. Anger often leads to rumination, where you replay upsetting events or arguments in your mind. This repetitive thinking can keep your brain active and prevent it from shutting down for sleep. Nighttime rumination is particularly problematic because it keeps the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, in an active state, further inhibiting the relaxation needed for sleep. Over time, habitual rumination can create a pattern of pre-sleep anxiety, making it harder to achieve restful sleep even in the absence of immediate anger. 5. Long-term fatigue and sleep deprivation. Chronic anger and the resulting sleep disturbances can lead to sleep deprivation, which takes a toll on your body and mind. Lack of sleep weakens your immune system, reduces cognitive performance, and impairs emotional regulation, making you more prone to irritability and anger. This creates a vicious cycle where anger disrupts sleep, and poor sleep exacerbates feelings of frustration and short-temperedness. Over time, this cycle can significantly impact your overall well-being, including your ability to concentrate, maintain healthy relationships, and cope with stress. The ripple effect of anger on sleep. Anger is one of the most significant emotional states that can interfere with sleep quality. From keeping your body physiologically alert to fueling ruminative thoughts, the interplay between anger and sleep disruption has far-reaching consequences. Recognizing these impacts is a crucial step toward breaking the cycle and restoring the deep, restful sleep your body and mind need. 9. How anger challenges mental health. 5 key psychological impacts. Anger is often thought of as a temporary emotion, but its effects on mental health can be profound and long-lasting. When anger becomes frequent, intense, or unresolved, it creates psychological stress that impacts your emotional well-being, cognitive function, and overall mental stability. Below, we explore 5 key ways anger can challenge your mental health, affecting everything from emotional regulation to your ability to maintain healthy relationships. 1. Increased risk of anxiety. Anger and anxiety are closely linked, as both involve heightened emotional arousal and activation of the brain's stress response systems. Frequent anger keeps the body in a state of hypervigilance, making it difficult to relax or feel calm. Over time, this heightened arousal can lead to chronic anxiety, where even minor stressors trigger intense emotional reactions. The cycle of anger fueling anxiety and anxiety heightening feelings of frustration can make it increasingly challenging to regulate your emotions and manage day-to-day stressors. 2. Heightened susceptibility to depression. While anger is often outwardly expressed, unresolved or suppressed anger can turn inward, contributing to feelings of hopelessness, low self-worth, and ultimately depression. People who struggle with chronic anger may feel isolated, misunderstood, or powerless to control their emotions, which can exacerbate depressive symptoms. Research shows that individuals with high levels of anger are more likely to experience persistent depressive disorder, PDD, as anger amplifies feelings of dissatisfaction and creates barriers to emotional recovery. 3. Impaired emotional regulation. One of the most significant effects of anger on mental health is the gradual erosion of emotional regulation. Anger disrupts the balance of neurotransmitters in the brain, such as serotonin and dopamine, which play key roles in maintaining mood stability. Over time, repeated episodes of anger condition the brain to react more strongly to perceived threats or frustrations, making it harder to maintain composure in stressful situations. This impaired regulation often leads to impulsive behavior, reactive decision-making, and an inability to effectively manage interpersonal conflicts. 4. Strained relationships and social isolation. Anger frequently causes conflict in personal and professional relationships, as it often manifests in behaviors like aggression, criticism, or withdrawal. Over time, these behaviors can create feelings of mistrust, resentment, or discomfort among friends, family members, or colleagues. Chronic anger can lead to social isolation, as others may distance themselves to avoid conflict, leaving the individual feeling lonely or unsupported. This isolation, in turn, can exacerbate feelings of frustration and contribute to a vicious cycle of anger and loneliness. 5. Increased risk of emotional burnout. Danger requires a significant amount of mental energy, especially when it becomes a chronic or recurring emotional state. Over time, the mental strain of unresolved anger can lead to emotional burnout, characterized by feelings of exhaustion, detachment, and a reduced ability to cope with stress. Burnout not only affects mental health, but also diminishes motivation, creativity, and overall productivity, making it difficult to engage fully in both personal and professional life. The complex interplay between anger and mental health. Anger is more than just a fleeting emotion. It's a state that deeply affects your mental health and well-being. From increasing anxiety and depression to impairing emotional regulation and straining relationships, the psychological effects of anger can ripple through every aspect of life. Understanding these impacts provides a foundation for addressing and managing anger in healthier, more constructive ways. Exploring the impact. In the following sections, we'll take a closer look at each of these 9 effects, breaking them down in detail and exploring actionable strategies to counteract them. Whether you're looking to manage your anger, improve your health, or find peace in your daily life, this series will guide you through practical steps to a calmer, healthier existence.